Hey everyone, Strainers103 here today with yet another replay cast. We're looking at Michauorin again in a Shoukaku this time, with a fishing div playing together with an Akitsuki. See if we can actually select these planes. There we go. Anyways, let's see. Launching torpedo bombers and then fighters. We don't actually have AS. It's actually a captain retraining, or a captain under retrainings, which could be a little bit awkward, but at least hopefully we have the top torpedo bombers. Can't really see that here. The dive bombers aren't really too big of a deal. They only get like 1.6, 1.7k health anyways, so it's not that big of a thing. We are in a top tier matchmaking, so we're not actually just relegated to being a spotting bot. Licensed on the enemy team, which can be very good for us. It means that he only gets one fighter squadron. This game was played somewhere around in April, so it is from 2 patches ago. So the Lexi doesn't get like ridiculous amounts of fighters or anything from a fighter setup. Anyways, it looks like our Dunkirk just decided to open fire and shoot at his division mate in the Shinonoma for no real apparent reason. So we're already off to a really bad start. So that's 10 out of 10. Torpedo bombers to the western side, fighters to the western side, followed up by dive bombers, which are spreading out in border patrols, which can be very useful against Lexington. You never really know what people like this are up to. They could be trying to snipe you. They could be up to some weird BS or anything. But anyways, with a fishing div, it definitely means that we could have an extra person to just pay attention to planes for us, and there we go. First fighters get spotted without a S. So if we wanted to, we could just stack both of our fighters up, get him in allied anti-aircraft, and then just go for a tag fight. Looks like he's going for strafing right there. Yep, he did go for the strafing. We could have potentially counter-strafed, but I think he started the strafe too early, and unfortunately we get a turnaround. So we do go for a really awkward strafe, but now I think the best thing to do is just to sit the tag. Oh, he actually bails, so we just need to click and counter-strafe this direction, a little bit off to the side. We missed a bit, but unfortunately, I don't think we're actually going to properly clip him. We do clip one, and he decides to go full retard strafing down into the middle of I don't know bloody where again. We need to pull this plane away, and I'm assuming we're playing with... let me just see if I can't get the settings up. Slowing the replay down does break this, but basically what you want to do is to turn this one off. Turn this one off, and you'll see how planes work and how they're flying. Let's put it back onto full speed. But now he's just flown it into so much anti-aircraft. All you have to do is to sit the tag, and that's GG. We don't even need the second fighter squadron. The allied anti-aircraft that's going to be so tough. We can just send the squadron down here, leave the dive bomber up there, stack our torpedo bombers up, and go look for a target. Nautical turbines, KGB all look like interesting targets on its own. And the enemy carrier can no longer disengage strafe, so just send them with one squadron off. Well, number 2 squadron it would be, but your first fighter squadron back home. Our dive bomber up there manages to catch an enemy fighter and Akatsuki on the right flank. But for the moment, well, we're not really achieving anything. We could just be patient about it. Ooh, Harikaze gets spotted. He's going to smoke ups, and our torpedo bombers they're not really in a position to drop him, so I think this is a bit of a waste, and there we go. Enemy strike planes finally get spotted, and he actually gets clicked, but I don't believe it's an idea to drop him like this. I think it is a bit of a waste, but then again, it's a reasonable cross we're putting into there, so he would basically have to go forward to evade this, otherwise he's going to take some, so I guess what he does. Anyways, enemy strike planes are in fact down there, and I guess our Akitsuki was either busy or not calling it out, because we didn't notice it and he didn't call it out, otherwise we would have been down there to defend at the moment. So it's too late for us to defend, so this plane should just stick here and suppress this Harikaze. Definitely just perma-spot the Harikaze and get rid of him. We're not stopping the strike. The best we can do is to retreat path him, but... So we basically lose out on a massive opportunity for the entire team behind there to kill the Harikaze, so I think this is a really awkward move making here. We haven't really achieved anything in our early game, and he, in fact, is attacking our Bismarck, which is one of our top-tier battleships, which could be really awkward into the late stages of the game. Unfortunately, we're not going to retreat past them, and I think the last squad gets wiped on retreat, but it's like, it doesn't really... We're off to a bad start. We haven't killed the Harikaze, we missed our strike, and we failed to defend. So we definitely do need to pick up the pace and start getting something done. Sending our loaded dive bomber, our right side, our eastern flank, border patrol. Well, it wasn't even a full border patrol, but it definitely was a patrol. If it had been a full border patrol out here, we would have definitely caught a strike trying to go down here, so that is a bit of an awkward situation. Sending our plane up to the KGV, I think this is a complete waste. This plane isn't going to do anything useful for us. So, I mean, we can keep it here, we can threaten to drop, but being patient is a virtue, and this is definitely not doing it correctly. In fact, we just managed to bait his fighter up, and it's going to take us time before our planes can cycle and get up there, which is time this plane is going to be heading back to base on. So We do get double fire on him, which, I mean, if he lets it burn fully, then that's nice, but it's unlikely he's going to let it burn fully, so what's going to happen is he's going to damage control party like that, and we don't have the Peter Bombers anywhere near to punish and actually upfront kill him. In fact, the enemy Lexington does get to liquidate our Bismarck, which means the Bismarck was he was an idiot and damage control party the fire from the dive bomber squadrons, otherwise he would have easily survived that. Enemy fighters are online again, and he's splitting his fighters off to try to defend against our strikes. Well, we're not actually able to defend against his, that's a little bit awkward. But Aki does manage to chip 2 planes off on that, so we just at this point need to take a click fight with him. Looks like he wants to do some bullshit strafing again, so just again, once he's gone past for the strafing, just click onto him, and that's 100% GG. This fighter is toast, if you get the click, and there we go, just click on it right now, he can't do anything, he's not going anywhere. Stack up the torpedo bombers and wait for something to attack. Turpets and KGB are kind of cycling up together, so an idea might just be to kill off the Optico that does have really, really bad anti-air. Never mind, he's a really, really low HP target. Without torpedo acceleration, I wouldn't really recommend trying to attack the enemy sims, and without our dive bombers, I wouldn't recommend attacking the enemy Turpets or KGB overall either. So we're kind of in this awkward situation where nothing is actually ready. The dive bomber isn't ready. I definitely believe that we should just go and use our fighters or something. One of the fighters to spot the sims, our guy can just wank that down, our Aki can kill that easily without any problem. And our bombers can go in and click on the enemy's KGB. This is a wasted drop. Even if you get a hit on them, it's a wasted drop because our Akitsuki can deal with that. And we're just going to loiter our aircraft in range of these guys over here. Another wasted drop, huge waste, no use, doesn't do anything useful for us. The Sims is under Akitsuki fire, Aki's going to kill him, so that was bad communication between our division over there, and that now the fighter is going to intercept our strike. While our fighter over there, we do spot the Harikaze, but again, it doesn't really do us any good, and now we're leaving our southern flank completely undefended, which could be really, really awkward. I'm going to keep this plane here, strafing like that, it's not going to do us any good, just pull it away and strafing on the path down there, there we go, much better strafe. And then we can go in and try to drop the enemy KGB, the Turpets is breaking away, so KGB actually has better AA than the Turpets when not damaged, and it looks like our Aki is trying to suppress and deal damage as much as we can all over the place. Awkward drop, we probably could have just committed it, but there we go, we're committing this one over here, so it's a much better drop, but unfortunately we're losing more planes. And there we go, the enemy carrier gets spotted down on the southern end of the map, again, exactly as we would expect. Our Akatsuki is under fire, and we do get a good hit on the KGV, so we just need our ally to finish that off. At the moment, this is also just a piecemeal dive bomber going in, so not really useful, it's not going to do anything great for us. We're setting our planes down there to try to do something, but at this point we should be getting the impression that the Turpets is somewhat AA spec actually. He might have he doesn't have AFT or super long range, but he does have manual because he's killing these planes at a reasonable rate, but they're not under attack for too long. And unfortunately, again, because we were splitting off our fighters and not really being in useful positions with them, we're only able to panic the squadron. That's the best we can do, panicking the dive bombers, but I think we're too late, so I don't think it gets the full panic off. Definitely we'll just pull the plane down here and just retreat path him like this. We can see the enemy carrier was spotted up there, so we're strafing up in this direction when the enemy planes are traveling in this direction, so that is a bit of an awkward miss with our strafe there. Cycle the plane, it's out of ammo, nothing more useful to do. And again, cycle these planes, get them all loaded, get them all readied up again, and then once they're ready up again, dive bombers, Turpet, double dive bomber Turpets, wait for the damage control party. If it doesn't damage control party, let it burn, and then go with double torpedo bomber and hit them in a face full of torpedo bombers. This squad's out of ammo. It doesn't really have anything to do over there. The best we can do is delay the fate of the Fuso, and I mean, in a way, it kind of delays this fighter over here and buys time for this fighter over here to get up here as well. So, and we have to actually elicit a response from the enemy's carrier. He's sending fighters over, so we just need to pull this. Keep it close enough to the enemy fighter. We've got nothing else to micromanage at the moment. There is nothing else to micro, so we just need to purely micro this fighter. Send it towards the Aki, and then send it back towards our own ship. In a straight line, he cannot catch us. His fighters are just slower than us, due to the fact that he's stock fighter. So if we have top fighters, he cannot possibly catch us. So these turns here, they only serve to actually let the enemy carrier catch up. So huge mistakes over there. Again, I definitely believe that just sending them in a straight line, don't worry, that's my phone, would have been much better of a result. And now the Turpets Harikaze up there, I do believe that just killing them off is the more important thing. Currently, if these guys decide to go to the western side, they're going to be in a position to pressure on us. But hey, I guess we see a bit of a free buy and kill. Drop the torpedoes, fly in a straight line past here so he doesn't strafe us on a downwards retreat path. So that's I definitely think that is the wrong thing to do over here as well. Just hit and then fly past towards the allied Akitsuki. We're in a fishing division for bloody good reasons. Time to start using it. This is an older replay, as I said, so I mean, definitely would assume that we've picked up a lot better better out of this. And I mean, I know you're a regular on my stream and you watch me play and whatnot, so I'm pretty sure all of this is not new. None of this is new stuff for you at this point, anyways. But still, definitely, we're not being patient about this right now. We got the single torpedo bomber squadron that's doing nothing. We have a double dive bomber that really isn't going to achieve anything. We could just click fight the enemy's torpedo bombers, I think, fighters, and I think that probably would have been a better result. Looks like he decides to go for a strafing into allied anti-aircraft, so just keep it underneath the nice now. That's absolutely fine. Again, single torpedo bomber squadron like this, that's not enough lead for the fighter, not without torpedo acceleration. In fact, we're dropping it too close, so with torpedo acceleration, we never would have had a arming on him. That would have just detonate. Well, it would have hit the ship without detonating, so bit of an awkward drop there. And again, all we're doing is just desynchronizing our torpedo bomber cycle times. And the Tempest is now pushing down mid, so it's a bit of luck that they're not actually going to push down the western flank and make our life incredibly awkward. But on the other hand, we could have killed them earlier when they were in the open, so we no longer have that opportunity. The enemy team has a lot of ships. Hadekaza is still alive, which is awkward for us. We could have killed them earlier. Fire dive bombers past the Turpets, so that's kind of an awkward drop. Do get a fire on him. We do need to get the other squadron around to drop at him as well. Try to get another fire, but unfortunately we drop in the same spot. The guy is incredibly healthy, and with Hadekaza, well, he's finally dead. Our Aki could potentially rush that. And probably the best option at this point would be for for Akitsuki just to rush down the enemy's Turpin to get him out of the way. But unfortunately, he's firing in the middle of the open, so he's going to be staying spotted for a while. So if he doesn't get a smoke screen, he's probably going to find himself having a really, really hard time of it. If this phone could just bugger off, let me just turn it off. Well, mute it so it stops doing that. I know what it is. But if Araki would just go forwards and rush down the Turpets, that could potentially be quite useful for us. We definitely need to pay better attention to the enemy's strike planes. We actually haven't stopped any strike. All of his strikes have been able to get through. We killed one torpedo bomber, but that was rather irrelevant. So fly this one past here. Ooh, that's way too early. We could potentially have clipped both the dive bomber and the torpedo bomber in a proper clip. So that's a bit of an unfortunate drop in my opinion. But the Charles Martel is using defensive, so our fighters are kind of unnecessary in a way. But unfortunately, it looks like the Turpets is actually using acquisition or something, because Aki's still spotted, so definitely believe he had torpedo reloaded. He should have just downright rushed down the Turpets and been done with the game. So that's an interesting Turpet spec from the enemy's team. We're going into the Cleveland, so a dive bomber attack against the Turpets was completely wasted, and at the moment we need to mark this Cleveland and tell our Charles Spaghetti to kill him, just to get him out of the way. But at this point the game is lost. We don't really have the replacements to kill all of these four guys alone, because I'm pretty sure, yep, our Charles Baguette is rather low HP. We do get a decent drop on the Cleveland with one hit. We could have killed them, obviously, but hey, it feels bad about that. But again, Cleveland needs to die, but he's not really our problem. We just need to keep him spotted so that the Charles can shoot it down to death himself. If we're able to kill off the enemy's stuff, you know, the Cleveland and the buy-in, so we can deal with the Turpets in the end, that would have been one way. But at this point, the game is lost. There's nothing we can do about this. We lost the opportunity to win this game when we failed to kill the Turpets up there, or we failed to get rid of the KGB earlier. We wasted, I think, basically 3 drops. The destroyer drop over there, destroyer drop down there. We were desynchronized. So, to be completely honest, in the interest of saving time in a way, we're going to speed this up, because this game is lost. There's nothing we can do about it. Another wasted dive bomber against the Cleveland. Second dive bomber coming in for the Turpets at the back. Does get one fire, but it isn't really that useful. Torpedo bombers are going in again, single going piecemeal. We could have killed the Turpets and the buy-in off at least, and then I mean, obviously the Charles Martel was never going to survive. It didn't have the space to kite. We do get a rare hit on the Turpets jamming his rudder. So we'll just have to figure out if he actually has a damage control party for that or not. And in fact, he did damage control party that, because he basically stopped turning. But here again, this squadron over here is going to have a hard time getting in there. So without torpedo acceleration, without a fighter there to stop that float plane fighter, this plane is just not going to do anything. That's not even aimed correctly. We would have had to aim the drop rather quite differently. We should have been using the fighters to strafe down his stuff. It just ran out of ammo. This fighter is now strafing this plane and misses. Again, the problem now is the enemy is in the capture circles, and again, if the Turpets had been killed off earlier, this would not have been a problem. When dealing with these kind of situations, when the enemy team is attacking from behind, you basically just need to completely ignore the stuff that's pushing. Your team is countering that. You need to deal with the stuff behind. Again, pizza theory, the carrier can actually exert pressure to be the pushing force, so the carrier basically controlled this, the team controlled this, and was pushing this, and pushing this. So we would have actually still had a chance of victory according to the pizza theory. Triggering defensive way too late, so we're going to decide to damage control party instead. Do need to get fighters onto the enemy's torpedo bombers. If he does commit the drop, then that is really, really awkward. That's a much better aim on the torpedo bomber. And hopefully we're going to get a hit on him. Looks like we're panicking the torpedo bomber, and there we go. We get the wipe on that. Very, very good drop there. And the dive bombers don't get the set us afire or anything due to the fact that the damage control party lasts 30 seconds. We do get it flying on the Valiant, so that's him gone. But at this point, like I said, there's no chance of winning because the Tirpitz is alive. The guy, I mean, at this point, it should be absolutely clear that the Tirpitz is actually rather heavily anti-aircraft spec. If you want to do, he could actually just push down mid and go and, chase us. Because at this point, they're going to win by points anyways. Finally going in with a double dive bomber stack, but it is way too late. We don't have any torpedo bombers to follow up. Should we get a triple fire against them, but the torpedo bombers aren't even airborne, so that is also incredibly awkward. He's going to go to the island, so we need to send the plane to the western side over here and attack from the southern end and up against him. But then and again, he just has so much HP that we can't actually kill him on time. These double dive bombs aren't going to achieve anything, and that is a completely wasted drop. So that's not going to achieve anything, and this plane's going to die on retreat path. And there we go, that's game. So with that, again, just want to iterate with aircraft carriers, patience, 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 stack planes, do proper attacks. If you're going to do something, do it properly. If you're not going to do it properly, don't bother. So there you go, last strike plane shot down. Nothing. I mean, Tirpitz AA is actually surprisingly good. You just need manual AA for it. But even with only 4.5 kilometer range, it's still surprisingly tough, and that's about what he had. So there we go. The enemy team does successfully cap. I'm pretty sure he was AFD manual. I don't think he had BFD. Otherwise, our players would have died even faster than that. But yeah. 1, patience. 2, patience. 3, be patient. Stack up. Planes, use them together, double dive bomber, reduces losses, more damage, fewer losses, get them back out of the way, because going one bomber in means you need, because aircraft, as AA, as you know, they only attack one target when you click on them. One plane going in has to go in, drop, go out, whereas 2 squadrons going in only has to do this once. 2 squadrons going single time, 1 each, means you need to do this twice. Going in, losses, going out, losses. 2 squads doing it means that you only have to suffer this once, and you get double the striking power. On top of that, fewer losses. 2 squads going in 1 by 1, let's say half of them die before they drop, which means you get 4 drops. Let's say 2 squads going in and half of one of the squads dies, again, same amount of losses, same amount of time, means 6 bombers get the drop. That is 50% more surviving the drop. And then equally, let's say 2 planes got shot down on the retreat path per instance, which means you lose 4 planes in total, 4 planes survive, instead of losing 8 planes in total. So you can see 50% reduced losses there. You can see the 50% number there recurring. And again, double dive bomber going in, you get to set 2 fires on him, or if you get even more lucky, 3 fires on him. If you stagger them slightly, drop on his bow. The first squadron drops on his bow in midsection, second squadron drops on his midsection and stern section. If you get 3 fires, most people just damage on up front, even though it isn't necessarily the right thing to do. And there you go in with double torpedo bomber, spread them around, get a proper anvil, wait for the damage control party to end double just double torpedo bomber. You get 3 or 4 hits on him, which against the Tirpitz with its 20-odd torpedo bolt will result in a 20-odd thousand damage. And then you get a flooding on him, GG, he's most likely gone. And if he isn't gone, go in with dive bombers when he damage control parties the flooding, because he will damage control party the flooding afterwards. So when the flooding expires, dive bombers, boom, he's dead, gone. Problem solved, game over, and that's him gone. So definitely missed an opportunity there. In the early stages of the game, we did waste 2 destroyer drops, potentially 3 drops, again in the midsection, just by simply not stacking up. So yeah, the game was, I mean, reading the email though, saying that the game, you didn't really know where the game was lost is, I kind of disagree with that. The game was lost about 7 minutes in when the Bismarck died, and the enemy carrier started making the second attack, and we had yet to do anything. Our team wasn't in a winning position anymore. And, well, pizza strategies, we just didn't have the control of the map anymore. We didn't manage to get the Harikaze kill, we didn't retreat past the enemy Lexington's planes. We did get his fighters, but they didn't really serve much use because we didn't actually get to exert our strike forces later on. So the game was already lost. 10 minutes into the game was basically 100% lost already. So, it would have taken an enemy throw to be able to pull that through, and it almost could have been the case if our Aki had managed to rush down the enemy Tirpitz, or just get a couple of torpedo bombers off so that we can get in a couple more torpedo bomber hits and kill him. But in the end, it still would have mean that we would have needed something to survive to be able to deal with the Lexington, because in the end, unless we go in and ram him, we are definitely not going to be dealing with that, because the Lexington does kind of have better secondaries as well. just the 5-inch 38s on the deck have better secondaries than the Shoukaku, and they have better firing angles. That on top of that, the front and back end are also 5-inch 25 guns that are also protecting the ship from both air and ground attack. So Lexington, I mean, despite the the Lexington is the bigger target, but the Shoukaku is the Lexington also basically on the starboard side gets 50% better secondary firepower. So yeah, of course, if we're talking 40% on the port side, then it's actually 50% less firepower because Shoukaku gets 8 guns per side. The Lexington gets either, I think it's either 12 or 4, because I don't think the 5-inch 38s fire across the deck. I'm actually not sure about that one though, but if they do fire across the deck, then the Lexington definitely beats us in secondary firepower. But otherwise, we would still have to approach the ship on the correct side, and Lexington firing angles, well, US firing angles overall, are much better than IGN firing angles on the secondary guns, so that is definitely something to be aware of. But yeah, with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this replay cast. If you did like it, give it a like, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I try to post regular content like this. If you would like me to cover your own replays, send them into replays.strangers123@gmail.com. There will be a email address in the description below, so you'll find it there. Send me an email with your replay. If you have the post-battle results screen, send them along with a description of the game and your thought processes. That way I will best be able to cover and to commentate on the gameplay and hopefully help you to make the better and right decisions in the battle faster and with less thinking about it. So, hope you guys enjoyed this. Take care, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye!